So before I begin, I'd like to ask you all a quick question. What's the first thing we think about when we hear the word history? Well, the universal definition is along the lines of a study of past events in human affairs, meaning that us humans are the only element involved in this occurrence. We all know Malala, Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, and honestly, the list goes on forever. But how can we remember these names? Scientifically, the notion of memory is one of the most intriguing mental phenomenons. Fundamentally, it has a lot to do with who we are, our habits, our ideologies, our hopes and fears, as well as what we can accomplish and do in the future. Your brain unconsciously omits certain things from your memory if it believes they're of no importance. But because we distinctly remember every one of these names, means they've had a personal impact on every one of us. And the one similarity listed between all the names is that they all spoke their mind. You see, your mind plays tricks on you all the time. It tells you how to think, how to feel, and how to dream. It's when you start listening outwardly that you slowly die inside piece by piece. We let others dictate where our hearts go, and this is when this phrase comes in place: unity of thought and practice. This phrase has become very common in our society from the fear of being so-called odd. Anyone who believes in a world filled with unique and free individuals would find that phrase abhorrent. This is because us people have long held that the means and the ends are the same, that we can't get to where we want if we're doing things that are counter to where we want to be. A simplistic example of this would be shooting ourselves to a peaceful society. If every day we cry over war, we cry over poverty, and we mourn over innocent lives lost. And this is what many individuals strive to change throughout the years, which is what changed them from living in a community driven by governors into a community of their own, where freedom of speech is inevitable. Speaking your mind, voicing your opinion. That's the concept I'd like to set forth today. One that I've struggled with myself for many years, but came to the conclusion that it should be a vital part of every one of our personalities. It's what makes you different from the person next to you, from the people around you. It's what makes you entitled to your own beliefs. And simply, it's what makes you, you. A house of history isn't built on a foundation of sand. It's built on a foundation of rock. Solid voiced opinions expressed to the public which stimulate courage. Courage stimulates the need for change, and that's where it all begins. It's a cycle, you see, but it needs a starting point. You could be the starting point. Whether you agree, you disagree, you love, you hate, you accept, or you don't, speak up. But what type of history have we been making the past couple hundred years, and where is it all ending up? In a textbook. A history textbook, to be precise. That's where all the historical figures that we learn in school and the ones that we remember end up, in a book, on a shelf, buried with dust. Is that where you want to end up? I certainly don't want to be written down in history. I want to be known to have changed lives. This is my key, and so, what's yours? Thank you.